everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be starting yet another reading vlog, another probably very gloomy reading vlog. If I had to take a guess, the weather is shaping up to be quite dreary in the coming days, which I'm certainly not complaining about. So I do have a couple of reading plans that I cannot wait to get to in this video. Just have a couple of fun things that I'm planning to do as well. So let's chat about them. First of all, I do want to go through my TBR because I have 3 fantasy romance, I would call them, books that I'm very excited about, especially because I love reading some fantasy romance in February, so I do have quite the lineup for this video. The first one being a conclusion to a series, and I'm very interested to see what I think of this one, and that is Wisteria by Adeline Grace. Sorry, the cover is like so shiny. But this is the 3rd book in the Belladonna series. I read the first 2 books last year. Really loved the first one. I enjoyed the second one, and I'm a bit dubious going into this one because, as I've said a couple of times previously, we are kind of shifting the main characters that we're following in this one, and I just really love Signa as a main character and her whole dynamic with Death in the first one. It was just so good. The gothic atmosphere was so stunning, and it's really what I loved Belladonna for. But I'm a little bit worried this one won't exactly have that gothic atmosphere that I want. However, a couple of you guys who have read this book have said that it was still really good, so I'm trusting your judgment on this one. I'm still very excited to get into it. There's a chance I might listen to this book on audio because I do have the audiobook for it, even though I ventured like 30 minutes away to a different library to get this copy. I still might listen to it on audio. We're gonna see though. It kind of just depends on if I'm feeling like doing some audiobook listening. We'll see. But this is reading plan number 1. The second reading plan that I have is actually my Patreon buddy read for the month, and I'm so excited to get into this one because I have read another book that takes place in this world. Really loved it, and I've been very much anticipating getting into this series because this is the start to a at least 4-book series. I think there's supposed to be more. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be more. But anyway, I'm going to be starting the Saint and Steel series by reading Paladin's Grace. This is the start to T. Kingfisher's kind of fantasy romance series that I have heard exceptional things about, especially the first one. I feel like I'm really gonna like the first one specifically. But I honestly don't really know what our characters are getting up to in this book either. All I know is that the main character that we're following, I think his name is Steven, he loves to knit, which I think is great. And there's like a little knitting, like yarn and knitting needle on the bottom of this cover, which is also super shiny. I'm so sorry, but yes, I will also be reading Paladin's Grace, and I cannot wait. I just feel like it's gonna be so fun because I read Sword Heart last November and I just had such a great time, and I know that this series kind of has similar vibes to it, so I feel like it's gonna be great. So these are the 2 books that I have with me that I'm going to be physically reading, but I do also have an ebook that I'm going to read, which I'm so excited about because volume 43 of Yona of the Dawn, it came out a few days ago. I honestly forgot it came out until I was looking at it yesterday. I was like, oh, I should read this. And also for my Patreon readathon that I'm doing for the month, I recently rolled a prompt to read an ebook, and then I decided to roll again and read whatever the second prompt was as an ebook, and it was read a graphic novel or a manga. So I was like, obviously, Yona of the Dawn fits perfectly, so I will be reading volume 43 at some point in time in this video. I'm kind of excited about it. I feel like I'm probably gonna feel the same way about it as I have all of the recent volumes that I've been reading, and that's more of a feeling of I like it, but I don't like it quite as much as I was liking the earlier volumes in the series. But I do believe Yona is coming to an end soon, which I'm honestly okay with because it's like, it's so long at this point. I feel like the story really needs to wrap up. So I'm excited about that, and it does kind of fit my fantasy romance vibe because of the stunning romance. Slow burn. We're 43 volumes in. It is so slow burn. Romance between Hawk and Yona in this series, it's insane, honestly. So those are my reading plans for the next couple of days. This is gonna be like a weekend reading vlog of sorts. It's currently Saturday morning, and I'll film this vlog over the course of however many days. It'll be like weekend-ish, you know what I'm saying? So very excited to get into this. I also do have some fun plans. Today specifically, I have a couple of fun things that I'm planning to do. First of all, I want to do a little bit of bookshelf reorganization. Not much because I am pretty happy with how my shelves are looking at the present moment. But there are some tweaks that I want to make. Specifically, I want to give Emily Wilde like my kind of collection of copies that I have. I want to give them its own little shelf on one of my skinny shelves. I don't exactly know how I'm planning to do that yet, but I'm just gonna like mess around with it. I'm gonna do a little bit of that. I feel like it's been so long since I've really done anything to my shelves, so I'm quite excited to get into that. And then later today, I think I also want to do a little bit of baking. I feel like it's been a minute since I did some baking. I have no idea what I want to make. I'm just gonna, you know, see what the vibe is at that current moment. We're gonna see though, we're gonna see, but it should be a very cozy Saturday. I'm thinking I would like to, after I do my bookshelf stuff, whatever, I'm going to be jumping into Paladin's Grace just because I'm the most excited about this one and I really would like to get into it. So those are my plans for today. Those are the plans for this vlog. I really hope you guys enjoy and let's just get into it. Also, I totally forgot, I wanted to show these to you in the intro, but I went to the scrapbook shop, my favorite scrapbook shop, a few days ago and wanted to give you guys a little bit of a haul, the things that I got. A couple of them are restocks, but some of these things are new, which I'm excited about. So I got another one of these like butterfly, dragonfly, nature kind of looking sheets. I used one of these in a spread that I did recently and I was so sad that they were gone. But then I just found another one, kind of same thing for my Valentine's Day dessert kind of sticker sheet thing. I definitely plan to use some of these in my Hobonichi throughout February, so I'm very happy that I have some more. I also got this little spring sticker sheet, which I really just got because I thought the bunnies were so cute, and I'm so excited for spring so I can like use that. Then I think I've had both of these before maybe, but I have like these sparkly butterfly stickers, which are so cute, and again, like perfect for my Hobonichi. And the little 3D butterfly sticker, which I've had a bunch of these in the past, so I'm happy I found another one. And then finally I have a little Valentine's Day sticker sheet as well, which again, is perfect for my Hobonichi. I know I keep saying the same thing, but I really bought a lot of these with my Hobonichi in mind. Like, look at this little bear. Isn't it precious? I'm so excited about these. But I wanted to give you guys a little haul because I'm very excited about the couple of things that I found. Anyway, now it's time to get into bookshelf reorganizing. So it is quite a bit later. It's currently early afternoon, but I wanted to hop on with a quick little update for Paladin's Grace because I've read about 60, I'm on page 64 right now, and I wanted to give you guys some initial thoughts, impressions, feelings. I also wanted to tell you what it was about. So let's have a little bit of a chat because I am really enjoying this so far and I feel like it's only going to get better as the book goes on, you know? So to let you know what this book is about, we are following our main character Stephen, and Stephen used to be, well, he still is a paladin, but he used to be be a paladin for the Saint of Steel, and that was kind of the god that he served, until 3 years, I believe, before the events of this book take place, his god died, which is obviously a very harrowing situation for a paladin to be put in. He's been feeling a lot of grief since the passing of his god, and he hasn't really known what to do with himself. He feels a little bit empty inside. He's definitely been extremely depressed since it happened, and he's also kind of talked about how the other paladins are dealing with the passing of the god too, and it's really not good, basically. So all the paladins kind of ended up being taken in by a different temple, which is the Temple of the White Rat, which we dealt with pretty extensively in Swordheart. So kind of seeing those religions playing the same kind of roles in this series as well, I've enjoyed. There's also the Temple of the Hanged Motherhood, I believe, who sucked in Swordheart, and they still suck in this book. They're literally just out to cause trouble, out to wreak havoc just because they can, basically. Like, just using their power in the most inappropriate way they possibly could. Made me mad in Swordheart, and it makes me mad in this book too. Because basically how our two characters kind of end up meeting is Steven is out for, I think he was with a healer, like walking around or whatever, and this woman runs into him, and she's like, oh my god, you have to hide me. And basically two of the acolytes, I don't know exactly what they are, but they are like from the priest of the Hanged Motherhood, and they were chasing after her and harassing her, even though I mean, I'm not 100% sure if what she was doing was illegal or not, but I'm gonna assume it wasn't, because she was like, I was just out in the graveyard looking for flowers or something to that effect. So she just happens to run into Steven, and she's like, oh my god, hide me. So like in every other situation where characters are near a dark alley, one of the characters needs to be hidden, there are people running after them, whatever. The two main characters, her name is Grace. Grace and Steven end up like fake hooking up against a wall, basically. And he's like, you know, pushed her against the wall, and he's like covering her, so she's like kind of hidden. And the Hanged Motherhood guys, I think they find them, but they're just like so appalled by what's going on. They're like, all right, like we're gonna go, you know? So that's the meet cute, you know? And that's just such a solid way for our two characters to initially meet, because it's so funny for the reader, but it's like really awkward for them. But after the guys that were chasing her go away, he ended up walking her back to her like perfumery, because she's like a master perfumer in this city, and they kind of end up going their separate ways. So we've spent a little bit of time of them being like, oh my god, I can't believe I don't know their name, I really want to see them again. They're like, you know, thinking about each other. And obviously they have again been thrust into a situation where they're in the same kind of area. They're obviously going to reconnect, and I'm very excited to see where things are gonna go, because that's the point that I stopped at. They haven't found each other again, but I think they're about to, and I'm really excited to just see their dynamic over the course of this book. It's just been really, like, even the 5 pages they were together, I was like, I love it already. I can't wait for more. It's gonna be so good. Which, I love it. I'm so excited. I love a good fantasy romance. And that, like, this series, I just feel like it's gonna give me that, you know, because I loved the romance in Swordheart, so I feel like it's gonna be not like the same like type of romance, but like I think I'm gonna enjoy it about the same amount as I enjoyed the one in Swordheart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but so that's gonna be great. I also really love that, you know, Steven knits, as I said, I didn't know that, but he kind of uses it to combat his anxiety, which I honestly thought was really cute. He bought like some red yarn, I think, when he was at the market one day, and he was gonna like make some socks out of that, but all of the dye washed out of the wool when he washed it. So he's just been making pink socks for himself and all of his other paladins, and I just think the image that conjures in my mind of these like badass paladins with their swords or whatever wearing pink socks that their bro over there knitted is great. I love that a lot. I've also just really enjoyed being back in this world, because I really liked it in Swordheart, so seeing it more, I think I'm also really gonna like. I think the religious climate of this world is just fascinating to me, because there's so many different temples, and all of the temples kind of serve their own purpose, and like some of them work in conjunction in a way, and some of them definitely have a lot of opposition to other temples that are in this world as well. So there's a lot of things about this book that I'm really, really loving so far, and I think I'm going to continue to love it as well. I definitely plan on reading a lot of this today. I'd like to make it up to the halfway mark, maybe. That feels doable. And I'm also just really excited to get back into it, so I just cannot wait to see what the rest of this book holds. I feel like it's gonna be good. So I've really just been spending the majority of my morning focusing on reading this and having such a lovely time. It's been such a cozy way to start my Saturday. And I've been starting it in the coziest of places because I've literally just been reading in bed all morning, and that has been made an even cozier experience thanks to the sponsor of today's video, which is Helix Sleep. So thank you so much to Helix for sponsoring this video. If you guys don't know, they are a premium mattress company. I've had my Helix mattress for about a week and it is so freaking comfortable. Picking out the right mattress was also such an easy experience thanks to their sleep quiz. Basically, it is this questionnaire that you go through and kind of fill out with all of your sleeping preferences. If you're a back sleeper, side sleeper, if you kind of sleep hot, cold, whatever, and it will match you with the mattress that fits your sleeping preferences best, which was great, honestly, because mattress shopping stresses me out. There are always way too many options, so having this like little questionnaire that I can go through and it's like, you should get this one. I'm like, thank you. That's all I needed. As I said, I've been sleeping on this mattress for about a week so far and it has been so lovely. It is so comfortable. I also feel like every time I lay down to go to sleep, I'm out in like 10 minutes, which is so nice. Previously, I was sleeping on a mattress that was like 21 years old. Look, I don't want to talk about it. I know it was a bad idea. So I honestly think sleeping on a bed of nails might have been more comfortable than that, but that was definitely starting to kind of affect my sleep. So now that I have this like really nice, comfortable mattress, it's really soft. I prefer like a soft mattress, so I decided to get one that was like really soft. And it's just so nice. I feel like I sink into it every time I sit down and I'm having a wonderful time. This mattress has also been great because I get really hot when I sleep. Fun fact, I know you wanted to know, but they have this cooling mattress topper that you can get on top of the mattress that keeps things cooler due to some thermal conductivity science stuff, and that has been so nice so far as well. Also, most importantly, I know you guys are dying to know, but the mattress is indeed Winnie approved. She does love laying on it, sleeping on it, hanging out with me, so it is kind of a cat attractor, if that is a pro for you. So if you guys happen to be in the market for a new mattress, I seriously cannot recommend Helix enough. It was such an easy process to pick the mattress, get the mattress. They also have free shipping to the US right now, which is so nice, especially when you're buying something as big as a mattress. And I do have a President's Day exclusive offer for you guys where they're doing 27% off site-wide, which is kind of crazy. So I will leave a link to them down in the description if you guys want to check them out. So thank you so much again to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video and supporting me and my channel, and to you guys as well who are watching this video for always supporting me and my channel. Your support truly means the absolute world to me, and I'm so happy that you're here. So with that, time to get on with the rest of my day. I'm thinking, as I said, I'm gonna read some more of Paladin's Grace, but first this afternoon, I do want to do some baking, as I said earlier. I've decided that I want to make brownie cookies. So those are the rest of my Sunday plans. Reading, baking, sounds delightful, honestly. So let's go. Alright, it is now Sunday morning. Hello. I am really just here to pop in with a quick update on Paladin's Grace because I have made quite a bit of progress in this. I'm currently about halfway through the book. I'm on page 182 and I'm continuing to really enjoy it. But you guys want to know the sad thing? It's not going to be my 5-star T Kingfisher. I truly don't think I will ever find a 5-star T Kingfisher at this point because this was the one I was banking on. I was like, if it's not Paladin's Grace, then what's it gonna be? So I think I just need to give up on my dream. If you guys don't know, I've been trying so many different T Kingfisher books because I feel like she just writes such a wide array of different genres and different vibes in her books that I was like, obviously one of them is gonna be a 5-star. So I keep trying them with the hopes that one of them will be a 5-star and they never are. And this one is the same. Even though I'm still really enjoying it, I just feel like there's something about it that is not gonna make me 100% pulled into the story, even though I'm having a really good time. You know what I'm saying? I always feel like there's just that little something missing for me, and I don't know exactly what it is. But that's not to say I'm not really enjoying it, because I definitely am. The romance between Grace and Steven has been really cute so far, even though Steven's kind of acting a fool sometimes. And to some extent I like that, but to also some extent it's a little bit much every now and then. He's like, you know, fighting over her with these men when they haven't established their feelings for each other at all, and I'm like, that's kind of embarrassing. And if I was Grace, I would be embarrassed by the situation, and she definitely was, and I was like, oh, like I don't like that. But the rest of it I really like. There are just like those couple of moments every now and then I'm like, dude, you need to calm down, like just a little bit. But I do really like their overall dynamic. They definitely have like an idiots in love kind of vibe. I mean, obviously they haven't known each other for that long, so they're not like in love, but like that general concept where both of them are like, oh my god, like I'm really interested in them, but there's no way they could ever possibly be interested in me. I'm just a lowly paladin, or like I'm just a lowly perfumer, or, you know, stuff to that effect, which I always do really enjoy because they're both so obviously vehemently, outwardly into each other, but both of them are like, well, it's never gonna happen because like the other person would never like me like that, even though they're both just like so down bad already. So I always really enjoy romances like that, and that's definitely what this book is giving me. We've also been getting into the plot a little bit more, which is interesting to some extent. There's kind of a plot, I would say, to kill the Archon, who's like the head something. I don't exactly know what this person does now that I'm thinking about it. But there's been an assassination attempt, and that's kind of what has drawn our two main characters together, because like right after I talked to you last time, they encountered each other at this like royal event kind of thing that was going on. Grace was having a moment, she almost passed out. Steven kind of noticed that that was happening, so he went over to kind of save the day in a way. They ended up going to a more quiet place so she could get some air, but they ended up encountering a dead body and a young man standing over the dead body going, I didn't mean to do it, I didn't mean to do it. Which I know wouldn't sound funny seeing as there's a corpse on the floor, but I swear it is. I feel like T. Kingfisher does a really good job at depicting these really like gruesome scenes while still adding in an element of humor to them. I kind of felt the same way about the beginning of Sword Heart, where our main character is literally trying to impale herself on a sword, which sounds like it should be really morbid and sad, but like it was just done in such a humorous way that you can't help but find it funny. So I just really enjoy the way that T. Kingfisher does those types of scenes, and this book has definitely had quite a few of them because there are like some gruesome things going on. There's like this person, I don't know if it's connected to like the overarching plot or not. They certainly have been bringing it up a lot, mainly Steven, which I think is very funny because there's this guy, well, okay, the thing that the guy's doing is not funny, but like Steven bringing it up all the time is funny because there's this guy who is like beheading people. He's like out and about just beheading a bunch of people, and he's just like so exasperated. Steven is so exasperated that nobody seems to be worried about all of these beheadings. Like multiple times he's like, have we just forgotten that this is happening? And it seems like people have. But anyway, there's this whole plot afoot where somebody is trying to kill a very influential and substantial, I suppose, like religious leader in this world, and Steven and Grace's friend Marguerite have kind of been pulled into this overall plot, and they're kind of looking into it a little bit more and trying to figure things out with some of the other paladins and like the other religions and stuff. So that's kind of how our two main characters have been thrown together. I don't really love the plot of the book overall. It's kind of interesting, but like it's not my favorite thing. I just don't find it to be super gripping at the present moment, but I love the romance and like watching Steven and Grace interact enough that I'm okay with not enjoying the plot, but I feel like this book probably would be a 5-star if I was liking the plot a little bit more. I'm sorry I keep like comparing this to Sword Heart, but it really is like the frame of reference that I have for this. I really loved Sword Heart and I really loved the plot of Sword Heart, especially because the plot was very relevant to your main character in that book, and there's also like, they went on like a questy traveling type of thing in that, which I love so much, especially in a fantasy romance story. So like I was eating that up the whole time basically. So I could potentially get a little bit more sucked into the plot, but at the present moment, that's kind of what's holding me back, but I am enjoying the romance enough that I'm still having a really great time reading this book, and I cannot wait to see how the romance develops because, you know, right now they're going through some turbulence. They definitely both have their reasons as to why they don't want to like kind of progress things on with their romance. Stephen is kind of still feeling some grief and almost a little bit of guilt for trying to find romance, even though, you know, his god is dead, and I think he's going to get over that. Not get over it, but like deal with it and process it as the book goes on. And then Grace also has some kind of issues from a past relationship that are definitely rearing their head. So I feel like the rest of the book is definitely going to focus on both of them kind of learning from those, but still moving on with their lives in their own way and hopefully moving on with their romance as well. So really enjoying it, having a good time. Definitely plan to finish this up today. I have some sprints with my patrons that I'm going to be doing in a few hours here, and I will definitely be reading the rest of this. So there's my like overall plan for today, is to finish Paladin's Grace. But this morning I do have some more immediate plans because I would like to read my volume of Yona. It's volume 43. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I remember what happens at the end of volume 42. That's one of the main problems with waiting for these volumes of manga to come out, because they come out like every 4 to 6 months-ish. And by the time I wait that 4 to 6 months, I have absolutely no clue what happened in the last volume. I miss my early days of Yona when I was just reading them like back to back to back over the course of like a month. That was so fun. I cherish April and May of 2023. That was such a good time when I was just marathoning Yona, but these days I just don't remember what's going on in the plot. And frankly, I don't care that much about what's going on in the plot, if we're being real here. I'm there for the Yona and Hawk moments, and if volume 43 does not deliver, I'm gonna be a little bit sad about it. But also, Yona and Hawk aren't on the cover of this one, and that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not gonna be some, you know, Yona and Hawk content in there, but I feel like that typically means it's not gonna focus on that, which just saddened me. Although I'm pretty sure volume 44 does have Yona and Hawk on the cover, and I really love the cover art for 44, so I will be buying that one. Like, I need a physical copy of it, you know what I'm saying? But I have volume 43 on my Kindle. Well, I'm gonna be reading it on my iPad, but like I bought it on Kindle. Whatever, you guys don't care. I'm gonna read volume 43 of Yona. And I'm also going to update my Hobonichi this morning, and those are my plans, my immediate plans for the day. So I'm gonna get into doing that stuff, and then I will talk to you guys at some undisclosed point in time. Alright, hello and good morning everybody. It's currently Monday morning. I had to go to class this morning, but I am back here to give you guys a little bit of a reading update because I did indeed finish up Paladin's Grace last night, and I actually love this book a lot. I feel like my thoughts that I had at the halfway point have definitely changed a little bit, which is like one of the downsides of, you know, filming updates with books so consistently. Because obviously there are always things that are meant to be a certain way that may not be what you want at first, but then when you get towards the end of the book, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, like actually that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like that's what happened with this book. And I feel like that happened with a couple of things that I said, so I'm just gonna casually backtrack here. First of all, I know I was talking about how Stephen was a little bit embarrassing at times. Now he was like a little bit much, but I feel like the more that I read it, the more I'm like, actually that makes sense for his character a lot. And he did also apologize for being an ass. And I feel like even the act of him apologizing ended up kind of leading in to the rest of the plot in the back half of this book. So I actually feel like that was all really well done, and I feel like it did a good job at kind of weaving in the romance as well as the plot in a satisfying way. Also with Stephen's character, I don't think I mentioned this, but there's this thing that happens to paladins when they go into battle or whatever, where the battle tide takes them over. And it's basically where they go berserk, is what they call it, and turn into killing machines, essentially. And even now that their god is dead, the battle tide can still come over them, sometimes in like full effect and sometimes in small ways as well, which I think kind of explains why Stephen is acting a little too aggressive for my liking sometimes. And then with the plot, I feel like the first part of this book was definitely a lot of build up. There were like a couple of different plot lines that we were setting up, but once we got to the end of the book and I kind of saw everything coming together, I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense, and the build up was definitely worth it. I also really loved that the overall plot did end up involving our main characters a lot more than I was expecting it to. So I take back what I said yesterday. I feel like everything that was in this book needed to be there, and it was for the sake of the plot and the romance. And I just really loved it, honestly. I feel like I might like this book more than Sword Heart. It's still not a 5-star, but I feel like it's so close to being a 5-star, you know? Especially after I've done some reevaluating. It was just so good, and I'm so excited to jump into Paladin's Strength. I think that's the next one. I did put a hold on it for my library, and it's currently in transit, so I'm hoping to read it soon. But this was definitely a big win. I had a wonderful time reading it. I feel like the last half of this book, I truly could not put down. I read all of it last night. I was having the best time. I just loved it a lot. I just really enjoy T. Kingfisher's fantasy romance-esque kind of stories, because I love this one, I love Sword Heart, and I feel like I'll probably really enjoy the rest of the books in this series as well. This book also set up kind of an overarching plot for the series, which I'm so intrigued to see where that's gonna go, because there were definitely some elements of that were very gruesome, shall we say. I've never really encountered anything quite like this before, but I'm interested to see where that's gonna go. So that's definitely also keeping me intrigued in the series and wanting to read the next one. So hopefully I'll be reading Paladin's Strength soon. I know it's definitely gonna follow one of the paladins we've already been introduced to, but I don't know which one yet, and I'm excited to figure that out. So there's Paladin's Grace. Really, really loved it. And then I also read volume 43, I think, I still don't know what volume it is, of Yona of the Dawn, and it was actually so good. Like, the drama in this book was so good. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? I don't even know. I don't even know like what the ending of this volume means for the rest of the series. I don't know what anything that's going on right now means for the rest of the series. But it's getting wild. And I now remember what happened in volume 42. And just more of it kept happening in this one. I was like, oh my god, like I can't do this right now. It's stressing me out. But I have to wait until June for the next one. That's 4 months from now. But I don't think I could possibly forget what happened, or what, like, just what's going on in volume 43, because whatever it portends, it ain't good. It's not good. So yeah, I'm quite stressed about that, but on the bright side, I'll probably forget I'm stressed about it by the time the next volume comes out, and then I can be stressed all over again. It'll be so fun. Anyway, today I'm definitely going to be jumping into Wisteria, which I'm quite excited about. Those are my plans for the rest of the day, and I will catch up with you guys later when I have an update on Wisteria. All right, it is quite a bit later. As you can see, we're currently in my car because I needed to do an emergency library run. Because instead of reading Wisteria, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I don't know, I was thinking about it and I just wasn't really in the mood for it. But I was like, I want to read something. What could I possibly read? And then I was like, duh, I know exactly what I should read. So I went to the library to pick up a copy of Paladin's Strength, and I'm so excited to get into the second book in this series. I do believe this one is following Istvan, I think that's how you say his name, who is one of Stephen's fellow paladins. And I figured, you know, I read the first one in this video, why not just go ahead and read the second one too? Just because I had a really fun time with the first one, so I feel like I'm gonna have a really fun time with the second one too. So a little bit of, you know, mood, reading plan changes, but that's okay. You know, I'm trying to let myself do that instead of like always being like, oh, well, I introed this book in the intro and like I need to read it, obviously. I'm not doing that today. You know, I mean, I read 2 of them, so like it's all good. Anyway, you guys probably don't care that much that I'm changing reading plans, but I wanted to let you know that I now have Paladin Strength, and I will be reading this book for the remainder of this vlog, and I'm very excited about it because I just really love T. Kingfisher's style of fantasy romance, so I feel like this one is not going to let me down. But yeah, I just want to give you that little update before I got into the rest of this video. So let's go just be cozy for the rest of the evening. It is a lot later. It's currently about 10 o'clock in the evening, and I've made a little bit of progress with Paladin Strength, so I thought I would come in and give you guys thoughts, feelings, let you know a little bit about what this book is about. I'm not enjoying it as much as I was enjoying Paladin's Grace. I feel like the romance just doesn't really captivate me quite as much as Paladin's Grace did, but something of which I cannot tell you happened in this book. And I was gobsmacked, honestly. Like, looking back at it, all of the clues are there, and they're so obvious. But when you were told this piece of information, I was, oh my god, like, absolutely smacked. Like, I was so shocked. So this book absolutely gets creativity points. I will give it that. And it is definitely, like, you know, for the first, I don't know, 100 or 75 or however many pages before you kind of find this thing out, I was kind of like so about the book. I just wasn't really sure if I was that interested in it, but this has definitely piqued my interest. But anyway, vague thoughts aside, which will make no sense unless you have also read this book, let me tell you what it's about. So basically we're following our 2 main characters, Clara and Istvan? I don't know, there are too many consonants all in a row there. I think it's Istvan. And the book opens up with us finding out that Istvan like killed this guy in a duel, and due to some customs of the area that he was in while this duel happened, he has been basically presented Clara as, I don't know, his property. Something gross, obviously. She feels very like apathetic about this. She's just like, yeah, that's like kind of what we do, whatever. And that's like the reason that our 2 main characters are thrown together for the entirety of this book. But basically we find out that Clara is a nun, and all of her sister nuns were kidnapped, and she's the only one that managed to get away. So she is kind of going on a mission to find them and save them from these barbarians who are probably going to end up selling them for some certain reasons. So she's kind of just with Istvan for a while now, and he has kind of agreed to help her sort things out with that, because he is a paladin. He is like one of the paladin. You guys already know, I told you. So he's like a good guy for the most part, you know, aside from the whole like going berserk and potentially killing a lot of people. His intentions are typically pretty honorable. So she's just kind of going along with him. She ends up eventually splitting off from the group to go and help out her sisters, and he ends up going with her. So I think Winnie's here. Hang on. You can't come in and not say hi. That is not saying hi. She is here. And she's so happy to be here, aren't you? She's like, put me down. All right, I'm sorry. Oh my God, you are so staticky. So basically the two of them are like going off on a quest. And I know I've talked about it so many times. If you guys know me, you know my favorite types of fantasy romance stories are when our two main characters are going on a quest together. It's just, oh, it's so good. So good. It's why I love Sword Heart so much. It's why I've loved all of the other like fantasy romance-esque stories that I've loved. It just put their characters into the best situations. So when I found out they were splitting off from the group, I was like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I still don't love the romance though. I feel like things are definitely moving a little bit too quickly for them. Like or for me, not for them. Well, maybe for them, but for me for sure. I just love a slow burn. And I think a slow burn can still be done to some extent in a single book, but like they kissed each other, I don't know, like 50 pages into the book. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I want some longing stares. I want them to be like, oh my God, like, they would never want me. Like, basically, you know, Stephen and Grace, that kind of thing. Because, you know, they had some action, I don't know, like halfway through the book or something, but it still felt like a natural progression, and it still felt like there was a little bit of pining, but it wasn't going too quickly. But like with the two of them in this book, I feel like you can definitely tell that they're very into each other off the bat, which is not my favorite kind of romance to read about. I love a little bit of hesitation. I love a little bit of longing. And them being, you know, like really into each other and wanting to jump each other's bones after like, you know, 20 pages, I'm like, it could be better. Like, just wait, like do that, but later in the book, you know what I'm saying? But I am really interested in the plot of this overall series and, you know, like this book as well, because, you know, we're following Clara. She's trying to get her sisters, her nun sisters, but we're also dealing with this kind of looming threat of this basically like a supernatural serial killer, which anything that's like, there's a supernatural serial killer on the loose, I'm like, sign me up. This one is definitely very gruesome, kind of, but it's just so fascinating. I love the way T. Kingfisher has woven in some horror elements into this book, because when you really sit and think about what this serial killer is doing, you're like, ooh. I really like that though, because I feel like it's this series so far, at least, I'm only, you know, a book and a third in, so don't take my word for it. But it's just a really solid melding of like fantasy with romance, some kind of horror-esque gruesome elements to it, which is everything that I could possibly need. So even though I'm not like loving the romance in this one, I am probably going to be continuing on this. Well, like I definitely will. I definitely will read the book that comes, or the books that come after this, because I think there are 4 books out currently. I'm pretty sure the 5th one is coming out this year. Potentially. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is. And I don't know if that's the last one. I don't know if there's supposed to be more or not. I also know that there's like the Clockwork Wars, some kind of series that T. Kingfisher also wrote that I might need to read at some point, so I have context for things that happen later in the series. If you have any input on that, do let me know, because I'll, you know, figure that out. But definitely have plans to continue on with the series. Also, can I say, I love the covers for this series. I just think they're so stunning. Like, I love the colors, love the covers, love the design. The one for Paladin's Grace is also so cool. I love this like teal and purple kind of combo. And look at them together. I'm obsessed. Honestly, I would want physical copies of these, but I feel like their spines are just so boring. And that's like the only thing I would ever see on my shelf. So I probably won't get physical copies of these, but I'm manifesting that they're gonna get traditionally published and they're gonna get even more stunning covers like Sword Heart did. The new cover for Sword Heart is so pretty. I mean, like, just appreciate her and look at her. Like, I'm so obsessed. And I need to pick up a copy of it, but it has teal sprayed edges and I just don't know if I want that on my shelves. We're gonna figure it out though. I might just like suck it up and do it, because I do think it might look nice on my blue and teal shelf. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. You guys don't care, but you guys don't care, but I just wanted to give some love to these covers because I think they're so cool. But anyway, my plans for the rest of the night consist of reading more of Paladin's Strength. I have picked this one up on audio, even though I did like drive all the way to the library to get a copy of this. After a little bit, I decided I would probably enjoy this more as an audiobook, so I have been listening to it on audio. I've been doing some journaling, I've been playing some Animal Crossing. It's been a while since I've done some Animal Crossing, but I've just been having such a lovely evening so far. So I plan to read a lot more of this book in the coming hours. Probably won't go to sleep for a while. I'm just gonna stay up, read this. We'll probably finish it up tomorrow. And that's my general plan for the rest of this video. So I will see you tomorrow, probably when I have finished this book. Alright, so it is now a couple of days later and I'm here to finish out the vlog. I haven't really done a whole lot of reading since the last time I talked to you because I've actually decided, well actually, have I? I have kind of. It's just not very exciting reading, I suppose. Because I did make it up to about the halfway point of Paladin's Grace. I think Winnie stole my bookmark out of this again, so I don't exactly know where I am. But I think I was a little bit over the halfway point, and I think I've decided to like softy enough this for the time being. I'm not gonna finish this, obviously, in the vlog. I'm just not like 100% in the story the way I want it to be, and I also learned since the last time that I talked to you that this series is getting traditionally published by Orbit, I think, at least in the UK. I don't think it's getting trad published in the US, but I know it's getting trad published in the UK. And there are like different covers of this series coming out in paperback in like April, potentially. So I definitely want to pick up the one for Paladin's Grace because they're really cool and like kind of vintage fantasy inspired, which I really like. So I know I'll pick this one up, and I might end up picking this one up as well. And then obviously I'll like get back into it and read it that way instead. But I just kind of lost interest in the story a little bit. I just feel like it felt so long. Like it's a 400-page book and I was like, oh my god, I still have 200 pages to go. So I decided a softy enough seemed like the way to go with this one for the time being, but I do want to get back to it. Because even though I'm not loving this book specifically, I'm really liking the overall direction of the series and I'm interested in that. And I know that each book kind of focuses, well, it does focus on a different couple. And even though I'm not like loving the two of them in this one, I feel like I could potentially like the other ones more. So I'm not done with the series, but I am softy enoughing this for the time being. I'll probably get back to it at some point in time because, I mean, I really like the first one. So I feel like there's potential for me to really like the other ones in the series as well. I just need to get through the rest of this one. Or if I can read the rest of the series without reading this one, you let me know. Like, would I be maybe a little bit too confused? If I'm a little bit confused, then I'm okay with that. But like, if I'm too confused, I don't know, let me know. Yeah, so I decided to not finish up this one. And instead, I decided to listen to a very large chunk of the audiobook for A Perilous Beginning. No, what is this? A Perilous Undertaking. Instead, while I finished up my scarf that I showed you guys, I think it was in my last vlog that I was working on, but I finished it. All ends are woven in. I even have little tassels on it. It's so cute. Little try-on moment. I think it's really fun. Very colorful. It's kind of exactly how I wanted it to look, so I'm very happy with this. And I ended up listening to like 61% of A Perilous Undertaking while I was working on this because I'm doing a like year-long-ish, like 3/4 of a year-long read-along for the Veronica Speedwell series over on my Patreon. This is the February book, so I was like, why not just listen to the audiobook for this while I, you know, do something else instead. So I had a really fun time doing that. I have loved getting reacquainted with the beginnings of this series because while Veronica and Stoker have stunning banter throughout the entirety of the 9 books, it's just a little bit more fun when they're not too deep in their relationship, you know? It's just so much more fun in this one, and I really enjoy the mystery in this one because Veronica and Stoker have been enlisted to kind of investigate this murder trial that's currently going on. The guy who is currently thought to have done it is going to be, you know, like executed via hanging in a few days, so Veronica and Stoker are kind of on a time crunch trying to prove his innocence. And it's very interesting. Honestly, I forgot a lot of the things that happen in this book. Like at one point, Veronica and Stoker literally go to a sex dungeon, which is simultaneously really not what I would expect from this series, but also exactly what I would expect from this series. And it's just so good. It's so good. So I'm definitely, oh my god, this matches my sweater like so perfectly. Yeah, I'm just having a great time. And I'm gonna continue to listen to this throughout the rest of the month. It's gonna be stunning, honestly. So that's kind of all of the reading that I've done since the last time I talked to you. Not a lot, and I've only finished 2 books in this vlog. One of them being a volume of manga, so I wouldn't say it was like the best reading week. I feel like in reality, this has truly just been like a 40-minute reading vlog for Paladin's Grace, and then the rest of it I've just been doing whatever. So I'm so sorry about that, but it was a good book, so I'm glad it wasn't a flop at least. Also, in the last clip, which you guys saw, I did unbox my new Hobonichi, which I'm so excited about. I was like, you know, debating whether or not I should try a different style of Hobonichi, but thanks to some of your guys' input, I decided to just stick with the Weeks, the Techno Weeks. I don't exactly know, like, the proper name for it, but the Weeks, shall we say. And it's like, I know I already showed it. Like, I know I showed me unboxing it, but look how cute it is. This design is just so stunning. I don't remember what it's called. Something wallpaper. Wallpaper's in the title for sure. But I just thought it was so whimsical and lovely and very spring-like. Even though I'll primarily be using this in the non-spring months, I'm still okay with that because it's so freaking cute. And I cannot wait to start using this in April. I can't wait. I need to set it up soon, like do the title page, all that fun stuff. So yeah, I thought I would let you guys know, seeing as you have been on the Hobonichi journey with me from day one. And also with that, we have arrived at the end of the video because I don't think I have anything else that I need to share with you guys in the outro. So here we are. Obviously, I finished 2 books in their entirety in this vlog, one being Paladin's Grace, which I really, really loved, and also Yona of the Dawn Volume 43, which I also really, really love. And then I finished like half of 2 other books. So it's kind of like I finished a 3rd book in this video as well, if you want to think about it that way. Not that it matters, but it's kind of all of the reading that I've gotten up to this week. Obviously, I would love to know down below what kind of reading have you guys been getting up to this week. I am so excited for the reading that I'm going to be getting up to in the coming week because my next vlog is going to be the vlog where I read the 3rd Emily Wilde book, and you guys know how excited I am for that. But it did ship, it should be here next week, and I will be reading it in my next vlog, and I cannot wait for it. It's going to be stunning and beautiful and amazing, obviously. Also, I did end up snagging the Fairy Loot edition of it thanks to Mackenzie. Shout out to you again, girl. She has a Fairy Loot subscription, so she was able to help me get a copy so I could have the full set of the Fairy Loot ones, and I'm so freaking grateful that I will be able to have them because they're so beautiful. And obviously I'll show you guys when that comes in like April or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around there, but I'm just so excited about it, so I had to share. But anyway, that is enough rambling in this outro. But actually, before we go, I would again like to thank Helix Sleep so much for sponsoring this video. Don't forget they're currently having a huge President's Day sale where their entire site is 27% off, so be sure to check them out if you are interested. I also would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you are ever looking for more content from me, that is always linked down below. But with that, I am actually going to let you guys go. Thank you again so much for being here and hanging out with me on this lovely Monday morning, if that is the day that you are watching this video. And even if it's not, I hope you're having a stunning day. So with that, I will see you in my next one. Bye!